Hello, my name is Chris and I'm a U-Haul hitch professional. If you're planning on towing a trailer with your Kia Sportage, then you're going to need trailer wiring. It is required by the law. Now let's take a look at how to complete this installation. You will need the following tools or supplies to complete this installation. We will begin this installation with the cargo hatch open so we can remove our taillights. Use a flathead screwdriver to gain access, as well as use a trim panel tool to remove this cover to gain access to the fasteners underneath. Use a Phillips head bit to remove the two fasteners. There are two pins in the tail light holding it back in the vehicle body. Let's go ahead and see if we can get some soapy water in on the pins so we can pry it loose. Faced with difficult taillights, it's always a great idea to add some tape to prevent scratches from the wiggling. We're also going to use a trim panel tool to help with leverage. You can now remove the electrical adapter. Now repeat for your passenger side taillight. You can now begin installing the wire harness. First, we're going to take a fishing device, pass it down the taillight cavity in order to retrieve the adapters from underneath. You can now fish your yellow, red, and brown adapter up to the driver's side taillight. I am going to pull the white wire because I do not want to secure it in the taillight cavity. Tape the adapter to your fishing device and pull it into the taillight cavity. Now connect the harness to the vehicle adapter. You can now route your green adapter to your passenger side taillight. You will need to go over the bumper beam in order to have enough slack to get this into position. Try to find the electrical harness for all these sensors because there's not a lot of slack. Be sure to go behind anything you can that may take up slack you're going to need. You do not necessarily need to lower the underbody panel. You may struggle to find your fishing device, but hopefully it's right there and easy and save you some steps. You're now ready to install your power wire. I will be using the U-Haul exclusive Power Wire 1. It is OEM grade with built-in resistances, so for this reason I will work from the engine compartment backwards. Remove your fuse panel cover by depressing the two tabs to gain access to a power point. Use a 10mm socket to remove the fastener. Cover the fuse holder with the cover to prevent that lead from being hot. Now affix your fuse holder and re-secure the fastener. Bend the butt connector to lower the profile and return the fuse panel cover. Now use a fishing device. Pass along the firewall, following your hard metal brake lines downward in order to tape the Power Wire 1 to it and pull it back up. Now be sure to hide the power wire behind any components and route it to the fuse holder. You can now secure the fuse holder and power wire using zip ties, making sure all the power wire slack is brought rearward. Always make sure if you zip tie to a hose, it is a hard hose and not a soft vacuum hose. We can now remove several fasteners along this underbody panel so that we can continue hiding the power wire along the hard metal brake lines. They are a 10mm fastener and one 14mm fastener. You need to pull down on the panel to get the plastic 14mm to release its grip. Be sure to use zip ties to secure the power wire to the hard metal brake lines along the way. You can now re-secure the underbody panel once you have cleared it to the rear. Push the plastic nut into position and re-secure all the 10mm fasteners you removed. Continue following the hard metal brake lines around the driver's side of the gas tank. Continue following the hard metal brake lines, past suspension components, being sure to pass the power wire over everything you can and avoid all the moving or hot parts. It is very important to make sure we zip tie the power wire with a couple of zip ties so that it does not ever get caught in the coil. One last zip tie point is the electrical harness here. We'll get the power wire past it. We can now trim off some excess and make the connection. I'm going to use a heat shrink butt connector that is not provided with the kit. Now melt the heat shrink with your heat source of choice. We can now pass our 4-flat connector over our bumper beam so that we can bring it to where we're going to mount it on a bracket. This bracket is not included with the wiring kit, but you can pick one up at your nearest local U-Haul hitch center, or you can order one from the link in the description. We're going to go ahead and mount it to the flange of the hitch. If you do not have this hitch with the flange, go ahead and mount it to the bumper fascia, but use rivets if you have them. Use the black provided hardware to mount the bracket to the hitch flange. Secure them with a Phillips head screwdriver and a 3/8 wrench. Now place on the retention strap of your dust cover, place the 4-flat connector into the bracket and wiggle it into position until it seats itself, and cover it with the cover. I will go ahead and use some black electrical tape to cover our 4-flat harness for a cleaner, dark look. Plug the harness adapter into the tail light and replace it into the vehicle body before we address any slack in the wire harness. We will repeat this on the driver's side. Now mount the white wire to the vehicle body using the provided self-tapping screw. Always a good idea to use 2 zip ties at a zip tie location like this. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of room with this wire harness, so we are restricted as to what we can do. I have zip tied it here in place to minimize the banging around underneath. You can now install your fuse. That concludes the CURT wiring installation for your Kia Sportage. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to practice safe trailering, and I can't wait to see you out there. If you have any questions about the products seen in this video, or if you'd like to schedule an installation with your local U-Haul hitch professional, please visit us online at uhaulhitches.com. You can even download the U-Haul app using the link in the description for even more ways to manage your hitch and towing needs.